So I decided to pick this up. Pretty big investment, but I think it should be worth it.
And I'm gonna see how quickly I can spend $10,000. The issue is I don't actually want anything. All right, so the total amount comes out to something like $21,000.
Your marriage failed, your fault. Your business failed, your fault. You know, you got a knee injury that meant you couldn't play tennis for 6 months, your fault. Whatever it is, it's your fault. You know, whereas if you just blame it on externals and all this, you're not gonna get very far in life.
You want to become a millionaire? Great. Give yourself 5 years. Give yourself 10 years. You don't need to rush. Now, I will say, if you can get rich faster, go for it. If you can learn a high income skill, and we'll talk about that a little later down the line. If you can start a side gig that then turns into a small little business, that then turns into a very large business, go for it. But just alleviate the pressure. Stop thinking you need to become a millionaire in a year, 2 years. And even in my position, I understand I did not have a normal person's journey. It is not normal to amass the sort of wealth that I have amassed. And by the way, as I said, that came with a lot of drawbacks. So don't just think it's all roses and sunshine. But even me in my position, you can see videos of me in 2015, 2016, when I was just starting out my business with acne on my face, reading books, going to the gym, being an absolute loner. And I say this because please keep this in mind anytime you watch my video or some TikTok. This stuff does not happen overnight. It has been nearly a decade since I started reading a book a week, since I started meditating, going to the gym, and setting the building blocks and the foundation for the man that I would go on to be. So please keep your foot on the gas, keep pressing, but extend your timeline.
Time increase your ability to handle stress. Now, bear in mind, one thing I will say, it's not something that needs to happen overnight. It's something that progresses. I can handle a certain level of stress in 2023 that I simply couldn't handle in 2018 or 2019. In fact, some of my biggest businesses with the most amount of employees, the reason that I didn't pursue or start those businesses or move forward with those businesses in 2018 or 2019, even though I was given the opportunity to, people wanted to start the businesses with me, give me equity, blah, blah, all this, is because I simply knew that back then, I did not have the stress tolerance to be able to deal with it. So it's not an overnight thing, it's something that you build over time. But as I said, don't come to the first roadblock and think, oh, it's tough, it's not meant to be tough. It's all meant to be roses and fairy tales. I'm just trying to give you very clear expectations. I think when someone can talk to you very openly and honestly and say that, listen, it's not all perfect, I feel like at least you're a little bit more prepared to go into war. So definitely I can say this about myself, and definitely I can say this about some of the most successful people I know in any realm in life, by the way. Any realm, whether that's sports, whether that's business, whether that's even a high income career, working for a very lucrative company. You need to be able to handle a high level of stress and embrace it. The third trait to become a millionaire that simply isn't talked about enough is your charisma and your ability to persuade. Now, of course, everyone knows this, everyone knows it, but people don't place enough emphasis on it. You need to learn how to have charisma, and this is something that you can train, by the way. Bear in mind, most people don't assume this about me. I'm actually naturally an introvert. I like to be alone, I like to chill, but if there's a time and a place where I need to be, I am extremely charismatic because I understand that people like to listen to people who carry themselves in a certain way, who have a certain aura. And as I said, that doesn't mean talking the most. It just means learning charisma. And you need to understand that if you don't learn charisma, if you don't learn persuasion, you will be underpaid and you will be underbooked. So listen, whether you're trying to land a high income career, whether you're trying to sign clients and get business and sign deals as a business owner, or you're trying to be charismatic in order to inspire people to work for you at your company.
Build your relationship with the creator. Whatever the creator means to you, whatever religion you follow, whatever it is, maybe you're just spiritual, but build a relationship with whatever the creator means to you, because I can tell you, you will have some of the highest highs in your life and you will have some of the lowest lows if you live life properly. Because the worst life you can have is just flatline. So if you follow all of these life lessons, then you will have a life of incredible highs and incredible lows. And as I said, that is what makes a good life. And the only way to stay sane and not go crazy in those periods is to be humbled by the creator. As I said, whatever that means to you, is to understand that there is something bigger than you. And the only way that you're gonna get through this crazy, turbulent, tumultuous life is by having a strong relationship with the creator. I remember I was 6 or 7 when I started praying to God. And the reason that I started praying to God was because I had a very, very difficult upbringing. And it's funny, the only people that I see that don't have a relationship with the creator, whatever that means to them, is the people who have had a life like this. The people who never went out there, never took risks, never fought for the life that they wanted. For some reason, they're always the ones that seem to turn to atheism. So I can tell you from firsthand experience, life will get crazy. And
For years, you know, it's funny. I've started to look at the self-help industry and realize just how much bad it's doing for the world. Like just how astray it's leading people. Trying to tell people, hey, focus on your passion. Let me tell you something. What you're passionate about today, you won't be passionate about in a month. And sometimes your biggest passions in life, when money is involved in it, it doesn't stay a passion anymore. So what you're passionate about today is not what you're going to be passionate about in 30 years. But what you commit to today, you will still be a master at in 30 years. And let me tell you something, when you are very good at something and you know that, you always enjoy it. You may not be over the moon, passionate, elated about it all the time, but you always enjoy it and respect it, and you always want to continue doing it because you understand how much blood, sweat, and tears went into it. So in life, don't focus on your passions. Find something you're interested in, dedicate yourself to it, focus on being a master at it. Now, once you're a master at it, or once you're very good at it, then you can add some other skills on top of it. And that's really where you sort of stack your abilities and stack the portfolio of things that you're very good at. But the main thing is just please stop it with the passion bullshit. The things that you are passionate about should be your hobbies. That's your downtime, that's your off time, because those things can always change. But when it comes to your work, when it comes to your career, focus on something where you hate it for a long time. But it doesn't matter, you stay dedicated to it. This is where I have so much respect for the Japanese culture because I see it time and time again. In Japan, teenagers will come on as apprentices and learn how to make knives, and they will do that for the next 60 years of their life. And I can tell you for a large portion of it, they probably hate it or they find it boring. But it doesn't matter, they find something and they stick to it. They have honor for the craft. And I think that's really what's missing in modern society is everything just needs to feel good and feel positive. No, focus on mastery, not passion.
Life lesson is be confident, but acknowledge your age and your lack of wisdom. I started my first business when I was 16 years old. And by the way, this wasn't a business where I was hiding behind a computer. I was front facing with clients. I was pitching multi-million-dollar businesses. So I had to walk in with confidence. I had to be presentable. I had to talk. I had to communicate clearly. I had to be confident regardless of my age. And I had to do that front facing publicly to potential clients. But at home, when I was alone, in solace, in peace, I understood. And even me sat here at 23, hundreds of thousands of people, even millions of people around the world, looking at me as a hero, an inspiration, a mentor. I understand that at the end of the day, I still have so much to learn. I understand that, of course, I got started so early. I had my first employee at the age of 17. I dropped out of school at the age of 17 to support me and my mom. I've experienced so much by this age, but no matter what, wisdom is solidified through decades and decades of experience. So if you are in your teenage years, be confident. Walk through life with confidence. Don't let your age, especially when it comes to business and your career, don't let that weigh you down. But in moments of peace and quiet, acknowledge that no matter how well you're doing, wisdom is only truly forged through decades and decades of life experience.